Hi and welcome to notes number 5. Today we are going to be talking about energy. We're going to be talking about the energy molecule called ATP, and we're going to be looking at how energy is transformed in organisms' bodies. So we're going to be looking at photosynthesis, and we're also going to be looking at cellular respiration. And then since we're going to be talking about carbon and oxygen in photosynthesis and cellular respiration, we're going to wrap it up with completing the carbon cycle. So all cells need energy in order to do a variety of things. 1, cells need energy to make new molecules. 2, they need to build membranes and organelles. So they need to build their Golgi apparatuses. They need to build their phospholipids and their ribosomes. They also need energy to move molecules into and out of the cell. So if we're talking about active transport here, they need energy. And cells need energy to move, whether it's through cilia or whether it's through the flagella. Cells need to move around. So the problem is our cells can't directly use the food that we eat. They have to transform it into an energy molecule called ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So if you look at that word, let me just get my pointer, you can see the abbreviation ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This molecule of ATP is made up of an adenine, that's why it's called adenosine, ribose, which is a sugar since it ends in OSE, and it's made up of 3 phosphate groups. And remember, tri means 3, so 3 phosphates. So here we have it. We have an adenine connected to a ribose sugar connected to 3 phosphate groups. This is ATP, an energy molecule. I always say ATP, energy, ATP, energy. How does it work though? ATP has energy stored in the bonds between the phosphates. So there are bonds between this one and the next one. But what happens is when this bond is broken, the energy is released. So it's stored in the bond, so when the bond breaks, the energy is released. And then we have something called ADP being formed. D stands for di, which means 2. So when this bond breaks off, we're left with these 2 phosphates, since the third one broke off. So here we would be left with ADP. So ATP is kind of like a battery. So if you take your cell phone, for example, you charge it at night, and it's fully charged, and then when you start to use it, it drains the battery. ATP is the same way. When it's fully charged, it's in the form of ATP. But as you start using it, it turns back into ADP, which is like a partially charged phone. So we need to be able to get energy because we need to do all these things in our cells. And that's going to happen in 2 ways. 1, photosynthesis. We can't do this, guys. We can't do this because we are not plants. Photosynthesis takes place in chloroplasts, which are not found in animal cells. This is happening in autotrophs. Remember, auto means self. These are organisms that are making food themselves. You may think you're a world-class chef and you cook your own food, but you're not making your own food in your body. Therefore, you are not an autotroph. What we use is something called cellular respiration. This is taking place in our mitochondria, our powerhouse of the cell. This is because we are heterotrophs. We're getting our food from somewhere else. We're either eating plants or meat. So let's learn a little bit more about photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Photosynthesis, again, happens in plants. An easy way to remember what this process is that photo means light. Think of photography, taking pictures. Can you take a picture without light? No, it either has to be bright enough outside or you need a flash. So photo means light and synthesis means to make. So you're making something with light. That's exactly what photosynthesis is. It's using the energy from the light, the sun, and plants are combining that sun with water, and with carbon dioxide to make sugar. Think about a strawberry plant. The strawberries are really, really sweet because the plants are making fruit. Even their leaves, if you would taste leaves, they're pretty sweet. So this is the equation. We have the energy from the sun. You can write sun or light here instead of energy. We have water, H2O, and we have carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe out. And plants use this to make sugar, C6H12O6, which is glucose, and oxygen. Now, oxygen is really a good thing that plants make because that's what we need to breathe in. So plants take the bad stuff that we breathe out, carbon dioxide, and they make it into the good stuff, oxygen for us. And I always sing the song. You use the light and the water and the you use the light and the water and the you use the light and the water and the to make sugar and O2. Even though that song is silly, it will help you remember the chemical formula for photosynthesis. Here's another illustration of what is used in photosynthesis. You use the light and the water and the, meaning carbon dioxide, since that's what we breathe out, to make sugar, glucose, and O2, oxygen. Yet another one. This is taking place, again, in the chloroplast. We do not have chloroplast. Photosynthesis is taking place in mostly plants. You use the light and the water and to make sugar and O2. Now, cellular respiration is the exact opposite. That's what we do. We need to take down the glucose that we get from plants, and we need to store it in a form that our cells can use. Our cells can only use ATP, not using glucose directly. So what happens is in the cytoplasm and in the mitochondria, we are going to convert the glucose into ATP. So the more energy a cell needs, the more mitochondria the cell is going to have, because this is where cellular respiration happens. So our muscle cells need a lot of energy, right? So they're going to have more mitochondria than, say, our skin cells. Here's the general formula for cellular respiration. It's the exact opposite of photosynthesis. You breathe in oxygen and you eat sugar, and that turns into the waste product that you breathe out, carbon dioxide. You breathe out a little water as well. Feel your hand, it's kind of wet when you breathe on it. And it turns that sugar into ATP, again, energy, a form of energy that we can use. Here it is written out. Oxygen plus glucose makes carbon dioxide, water, and energy. So just think about yourself. What you do is what cellular respiration is. You breathe in, you're constantly eating, and what do? You breathe out carbon dioxide and water, and you make energy. Now moving on to the carbon cycle. Now the reason why we're learning it now is because what do plants take in? Carbon dioxide. And what do we breathe out? Carbon dioxide. That's where the carbon is. Carbon is also in the sugar, C6H12O6. So photosynthesis and cellular respiration are the complete opposite. So they occur in a cycle. So what one makes, photosynthesis makes glucose and oxygen, cellular respiration uses glucose and oxygen. And cellular respiration makes CO2 and H2O. And that's what photosynthesis makes. So it occurs in a cycle. What one makes, the other is used. Now energy is also cycled in photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Photosynthesis takes energy from the sun and it turns it into sugar. Think of a strawberry. Then, in cellular respiration, we eat that strawberry and we turn it into ATP. So we're just cycling from different energy forms to another. Our waste products are also recycled. Oxygen gas is released when photosynthesis occurs. The plants don't need the oxygen. They just make it as a byproduct. But it works out for us because that is what's required in order for cellular respiration to happen. And the same exact goes the other way around. Our waste that we breathe out is carbon dioxide. And lucky for plants, they need it in order for photosynthesis to happen. That's illustrated right here. you can see the person breathing out carbon dioxide, which the trees use to make oxygen, which we breathe in. So in summary, the products of photosynthesis, what's made is sugar and O2, which is glucose and oxygen. And those are what are used in cellular respiration. So they're the reactants of cellular respiration. And the opposite goes for cellular respiration. The product of cellular respiration, CO2 and H2O, and energy, are the reactants of photosynthesis. Now, we're breathing out carbon dioxide, but there are also other things that add carbon dioxide into the earth, like us. We destroy our environment by cutting and burning forests and using fossil fuels. So we're getting rid of trees, which help to suck up the carbon dioxide, and we're making more carbon dioxide by polluting the earth. Think about how you got here. Your car was filled with gasoline, a fossil fuel, which has carbon inside of it. And that's it.